Hi, I'm Marcus Wisnett, and I am a social service specialist in the evictions department. And every once in a while, I get to branch out and help other different departments out throughout the Cook County Sheriff's Office. And I've been helping out with evictions for a little over 7 years, but I have been an official Sheriff's Department employee for not quite 2 years. And when I was asked to participate in Law Enforcement Week, I was very excited because I've had so many positive encounters with so many different people here in the department. I was asked to mention something about courage and grit, and the first thing is, one of the things that I do is I go out with deputies almost on a daily basis. And I may be a little biased, but I think that the evictions deputies in particular are a special brand of folks. When we go out, I can't tell you how many times that we have gone to a door and we don't know what's behind that door. And I play it safe. I stay behind the deputies and let them clear a home before I go in. But I'm always amazed at their courage and their grit at many times having to go through a door that had to be forced open. It's completely dark and you have no idea what's in there. And there have been people hiding in closets, there have been loaded weapons, there have been defendants in there that have a propensity towards violence or have got a history of being violent. You never know. And quite often, and my biggest fear are the big dogs that are there and all the creepy crawlies that hide in the darkness that you have to shake off to make sure you're not taking any home with you. And I think that's pretty brave, but also in terms of courage, but they have the grit to go on with it. I also think that there's a lot of courage in going away, veering from the status quo, that for so long it's been about law enforcement and protection and following a court order. And in the not too recent past, things have kind of slowly began to turn to include more where services are part of it. And I think it takes a lot of courage to go into new territory and allow someone from an entirely different discipline to join in and try to assist and have a greater impact of where no one's going to ever say that eviction is a good thing, but at least perhaps on some of the times that we go out, something positive can come from an eviction by giving someone services that they need. And that would not be possible if the deputies that I go out with had not been open and willing to help me do my job, and that I will always appreciate. I was also asked to mention something regarding dedication. And to begin with, my director of the CRC is Marianne Kelly. And one of the directives that I got from my director was that if there's a situation where I'm asked to assist and there's potential to be able to have a positive impact for any member of the community and or to help one of the sworn officers, her expectation is that I go. And that's pretty, she has emphasized that not just to me, but to the entire CRC team. And she's got a great staff. The CRC is relatively new, but it's a great group of people who have shown their dedication and commitment because they're having to reach out to folks who oftentimes are marginalized, have got very, very poor opinions of services in general, particularly if they're affiliated with law enforcement. But these are folks that are calling and calling again and reaching out and trying to make it palatable to get assistance. And that takes a lot of dedication whenever you're working with a group of folks that you have to really, really, really work hard to get them to engage. So there's dedication with that. Personal experience that I had was myself and some deputies encountered a senior citizen that had a long history of chronic mental illness, and she also was facing some legal issues. And this started around 9 o'clock in the morning. And 12 hours later, with myself and Deputy Christine Jones and Deputy John Dagnan and Sergeant Racizan and Superintendent Pond and Director Gateau, we were able to get this woman the medical interventions that she needed to address her psychiatric issues, and they were pretty critical at the time. At the same time, a whole other discipline was working on her legal issues. So the combined efforts, the effect was her legal issues were managed, as well as the treatment that she needed was obtained for her. But it took 12 hours to do it, and that took a lot of dedication on everybody's part. And that's just one of many, many stories where there's been so many people come together in order to make a positive effect and a positive change, and still do what's supposed to be done within the sheriff's office. I was asked to mention something about inclusion and diversity. Inclusion goes back again, the deputies and the operations side, they did not have to be as welcoming and as open to the idea of bringing an entirely different discipline in, but they did. And I think majority of folks would say that it has been positive for the folks, the community that we serve. And I'm gonna, and also in terms of diversity, I knew First Assistant Executive Director Mitchell when she was a sergeant. And I remember when she was a sergeant, she strongly emphasized that we have folks from different backgrounds and races and sexes to go be on the social service evictions team, because she felt it was really important that if there's an opportunity that someone can try to identify with, that they have that if at all possible. And when I go out with the deputies now, I am constantly amazed that there are some people who are more prone to take the lead, will pull back, that nature and shelve the ego and let someone else who perhaps is not as likely to take the lead on something step up, simply because that defendant has a better connection with them. And they are such masters at it that it's almost subconscious now. But they recognize who we deal with and who we're talking to. We can have a much more positive impact if we have the right combination working. And so sometimes you'll just see such a flux of people working with the defendants. And then going back to the CRC, Marianne has, strongly encouraged us to not only be aware of the different dynamics of the people that we're attempting to assist and help and work with, but also to make sure that we've got some specific resources to offer them. And that could be based on their race, that could be based on their age, that could be based on their sexual orientation, their native language. But throughout, there is just that push to let's try to meet people where they're at and help them there, as opposed to meeting folks with a dogmatic approach of this is where we're at, and you have to come to meet us at that point. And that certainly, I think, has been a positive effect for the people that we've been charged to try to help and assist. And finally, I would say in terms of strength, when I go out on evictions, or if I'm helping out, with other departments, coming home, sometimes I can pretty much guarantee you, or coming back here, I am not meeting people when they are at their best. And when people are not at their best, the old saying is hurt people hurt people. So I have seen people act out because they're angry, they're upset. And 5 or 6, 7 hours of that can sort of take its toll. But I can honestly say that when I come in through the doors here at JTDC, the deputies that maintain the security here in the building are consistently so professional. And they always have this unique ability to kind of lift your mood when you see them. And they're there for an entire shift. How they are able to maintain that level of welcoming and professionalism, I don't know. I don't think I'm capable of it, but I'm certainly appreciative of the fact that they can.
Awesome. Can you just do like a thank you all Sheriff's Office employees, or some iteration of that thought?
Am I saying to everyone in the Sheriff's Office? Okay. Just want to say thank you to everyone in the Cook County Sheriff's Office for all of your hard work and your commitment and your dedication. And as a non-sworn employee, I can tell you that it certainly makes a dramatic difference in people's lives.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay.